When the county clerk handed me the property deed, I stared at it for a full minute. My name, William James Crawford, was nowhere on it. Instead, I saw Jennifer Lynn Crawford, sole owner. My hands, steady from decades of military discipline, didn't shake, but my jaw tightened as I read the transfer date, March 15th, 2024. 3 months ago. The signature at the bottom looked like mine. Almost. But I never signed this document. I'd never even seen it. My voice was calm when I spoke. Can you print me a copy of the signature page? I need to examine something. The clerk nodded, slightly confused by my intensity. As the printer hummed, I ran through tactical scenarios in my mind. This wasn't a mistake. This was an operation. Someone had executed a plan to steal my house, and I had a pretty good idea who the enemy was. My name is William James Crawford. I'm 71 years old. I spent 23 years in the Air Force, most of it flying combat missions over Vietnam and later serving as a tactical operations officer. I retired as a lieutenant colonel in 1995. After the military, I built a successful career in real estate investment, acquiring properties throughout Portland and the surrounding areas. By the time I fully retired at 65, I owned 12 rental properties worth approximately $4.2 million, plus my primary residence, a beautiful craftsman home in the Pearl District worth $1.8 million. My first wife, Margaret, died of a stroke 6 years ago. We'd been married for 42 years. She was my partner, my best friend, my anchor. When she died, I felt like half of me died with her. Our 2 children, David and Rachel, lived out of state. David in Chicago, Rachel in Boston. They had their own families, their own lives. They visited when they could, but I was alone in that big house, and the loneliness was crushing. I met Jennifer 2 years ago at a charity fundraiser for veterans. She was 58, attractive, well-dressed, with a warm smile that reminded me of Margaret. She approached me during the cocktail hour. "You're Lieutenant Colonel Crawford, aren't you?" she'd said. "I read about your service record in the program." 47 combat missions. That's remarkable. I'd been flattered. It was a long time ago. "Courage doesn't have an expiration date," she'd smiled. "I'm Jennifer. My late husband was Air Force too, logistics officer. He passed away 8 years ago." We talked for 2 hours that night, about loss, about military life, about the challenges of being alone after decades of partnership. She understood. Or at least, she seemed to. We started dating. She was attentive, thoughtful. She'd cook dinner at my place, listen to my stories, laugh at my jokes. After 6 months, she suggested moving in together. "We're not kids anymore, William," she'd said. "Why waste time? Life's too short to be alone when we could be together." It made sense. I was 70, she was 58. We weren't playing games. I said yes. That's when I met her sons. Jennifer had 3 boys from her first marriage, Brandon, 34, Kyle, 32, and Derek, 28. They were different. Brandon worked in cryptocurrency consulting, which seemed to mean he had no actual job. Kyle was a personal trainer who was always between gyms. Derek claimed to be starting various businesses that never quite launched. What they all had in common was an apparent lack of steady income and an expectation that their mother would support them. The first red flag came 3 months after Jennifer moved in. I came home early from a doctor's appointment and found Brandon in my home office, sitting at my desk, going through my file cabinet. "What are you doing?" I'd asked, keeping my voice level. He'd jumped, startled. "Oh, Mr. Crawford, Mom asked me to find some paperwork for her, insurance stuff." "What insurance paperwork?" "I'm not sure exactly. She said it was in here." He closed the drawer quickly. "I couldn't find it anyway." "I'll let her know." He'd brushed past me and left. I checked the files. Everything seemed in order, but something felt wrong. Why would Jennifer send Brandon to look through my personal documents without asking me first? When I confronted Jennifer that evening, she laughed it off. "Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I was looking for the homeowner's insurance policy. I wanted to add myself to it since I'm living here now. Brandon was just helping. I should have asked you first." "Yes, you should have. You're right. I apologize." She'd kissed my cheek. It won't happen again. But it did happen again. Small things. Kyle asking detailed questions about my properties, how much they were worth, how much rental income they generated, whether they were paid off. Derek casually mentioning that at my age, I should really have my estate planning in order. Jennifer suggesting we should combine our finances, get a joint bank account, make things simpler. I declined every suggestion. I'd been managing my money for 50 years. I didn't need help. Then, 8 months ago, Jennifer proposed marriage. We were having dinner at a nice restaurant downtown. She reached across the table and took my hand. "William, I love you. I want to spend whatever time we have left together, officially. Will you marry me?" I was surprised, touched. At 70, I hadn't expected to marry again, but Jennifer made me happy. She filled the house with warmth. She made the loneliness bearable. "Yes," I said. "Yes, I will." We married 3 weeks later at the courthouse. Small ceremony. Her 3 sons attended. My children couldn't make it on such short notice. David had work commitments. Rachel's daughter was sick. They said they'd visit soon to celebrate. They never did. After the wedding, things shifted. Subtly at first. Jennifer started making changes to the house without asking. New furniture, new paint colors, new curtains. When I questioned it, she'd say, "It's our house now, not just yours. I should have some say in how it looks. Our house." She said that a lot. Her sons started showing up more frequently. Brandon would arrive unannounced, raid the refrigerator, sprawl on the couch watching TV. Kyle would use my home gym without asking, leaving equipment scattered. Derek would hold business meetings in my dining room, his sketchy associates eyeing my belongings. "Jennifer, we need boundaries," I'd said after Derek's 3rd meeting. "Your sons can't just treat this place like their personal clubhouse. They're family, William. Family doesn't need permission." Her voice had an edge I hadn't heard before. "Besides, you're gone half the day anyway. What difference does it make?" "It makes a difference to me. This is my home. It's our home." There it was again. Our home. 3 months after the wedding, I noticed mail arriving addressed to Jennifer at my address, but to a P.O. box I didn't recognize. Credit card statements, bank statements. When I asked about it, she said it was for a business venture she was exploring. Nothing for me to worry about. Then, 2 months ago, I got a call from my property manager, Carl. He managed my 12 rental properties. "William, I got a strange call today. Someone claiming to be your wife, asking for detailed financial information on all your properties, income, expenses, mortgage status, everything." My stomach dropped. "What did you tell her?" "Nothing. I said I only discuss client finances with the client, but it was odd. She seemed irritated that I wouldn't share the information." "Carl, I need you to add a password to my account. No information gets released without that password, not to anyone. Consider it done. Is everything okay?" "I'm not sure yet." That night I confronted Jennifer. "Why were you calling Carl about my properties?" She barely looked up from her phone. "I'm your wife. I should know about our finances." "They're not our finances. They're my properties. I owned them long before we met." "Well, we're married now. What's yours is mine." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "That's how marriage works, William." "That's not how my marriage works." Her smile disappeared. "You know, for someone who claims to love me, you're awfully secretive about money. It makes me wonder what you're hiding." "I'm not hiding anything. I'm protecting assets I spent 40 years building." "From me? Your wife?" She stood up, her voice rising. "That's insulting. I'm not some gold digger. I never said you were, but you're acting like it." Maybe this marriage was a mistake. She stormed out of the room. We didn't speak for 2 days. Looking back, I should have seen it clearly. But I was lonely. I wanted to believe Jennifer loved me. I wanted to believe I hadn't made a terrible mistake. Then came this morning. I'd received a notice from the county about a property tax assessment. Routine. I decided to stop by the county clerk's office to review my property records, make sure everything was current. That's when I saw it. The deed to my house, the $1.8 million Craftsman home I'd owned for 32 years, no longer had my name on it, just Jennifer's, sole owner. Transfer date, March 15th. I stared at that date. March 15th. I remembered that day. Jennifer had asked me to run errands, pick up groceries, stop by the pharmacy, take my time. She'd said she had a headache and wanted to rest. I'd been gone for 3 hours. When I came home, Jennifer was in the kitchen, cooking dinner, cheerful. Nothing seemed unusual. But that was the day. That was when she'd forged my signature and stolen my house. Now, standing in the county clerk's office, I examined the signature page closely. It was good. Very good. Someone had practiced. The loops in the W, the slant of the J, the way I crossed my T's, but there were tiny discrepancies. The pressure was wrong. The flow was slightly off. And most damning, I always signed my middle name as James in full-on legal documents. This signature abbreviated it as J. This wasn't my signature. This was forgery. And forgery was a felony. I left the county office with copies of everything. Then I sat in my car and did what I'd been trained to do for 23 years. I assessed the situation, identified the enemy, and began planning my operation. Enemy, Jennifer Lynn Crawford, and possibly her 3 sons. Objective? Steal my primary residence worth $1.8 million. Method: forgery, fraud, deception. My counter-operation: gather intelligence, document evidence, execute tactical response, achieve complete victory. I pulled out my phone and called my attorney, Marcus Blackwell. Marcus and I had known each other for 30 years. He'd handled all my real estate transactions, my will, my estate planning. He was sharp, ruthless when necessary, and completely trustworthy. "William, good to hear from you. What's up?" "Marcus, I need to see you immediately, and I need you to prepare for war." There was a pause. "What kind of war?" "The kind where my wife forged my signature and stole my house." "I'll clear my afternoon. Get here now." At Marcus's office, I laid out everything. The forged deed, the suspicious behavior, the sons going through my files, Jennifer's attempts to access my property information, the timeline. Marcus studied the documents, his expression darkening. This is fraud. Potentially criminal conspiracy if her sons are involved. We need to move fast and smart. What's the first step? We file a complaint with the district attorney's office. Report the forgery. Meanwhile, I'll file an emergency motion to void the deed transfer and restore your ownership. We'll also get a restraining order preventing Jennifer from selling the property or taking any further action. How long will that take? I can file the emergency motion today. We should get a hearing within 48 hours. The DA investigation will take longer. What about evidence? We have the forged deed. I'll hire a forensic document examiner to officially verify the signature is fake. We'll need your testimony about what you observed, the sons in your files, Jennifer's attempts to access your financial information, the timeline. Do you have any physical evidence? Security cameras? Recordings? I thought about that. No, I didn't think I needed to surveil my own wife. Understandable. But moving forward, document everything. Record conversations if Oregon law allows it, which it does, one-party consent. Install security cameras. Keep a detailed log of every interaction. I can do that. Marcus leaned back in his chair. "William, I have to ask, what's your endgame here? Do you want the house back in a divorce, or do you want criminal charges?" I thought about Jennifer's smile when she said, "What's yours is mine." I thought about her sons treating my home like their personal property. I thought about that forged signature. I want both. I want my house back, I want a divorce, and I want everyone involved in this fraud prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Marcus smiled grimly. Good, because that's what I was hoping you'd say. I left Marcus's office with a plan. First, I'd go home and act normal. I wouldn't confront Jennifer yet. I needed to gather more intelligence, see what else she was planning, let her think her operation was working. Second, I'd install hidden cameras throughout the house, document everything. Third, I'd reach out to my children. David and Rachel needed to know what was happening. Fourth, I'd secure my other assets. My 12 rental properties were in an LLC separate from my personal residence, but I needed to make sure Jennifer couldn't access those either. As I drove home, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, The old military mindset clicking into place, target identified, mission parameters. Jennifer thought she was dealing with a lonely old man. Easy prey. She was wrong. I was a decorated combat veteran. I'd survived 47 missions over hostile territory. I'd planned tactical operations against trained enemies. I'd been shot at, hunted, and I'd always come out on top. Jennifer and her sons weren't trained enemies. They were amateurs playing a dangerous game, and they had no idea who they were really up against. I pulled into my driveway at 4:30 p.m. Jennifer's car was there, along with Brandon's beat-up Honda. I could hear voices inside, laughing. I took a breath, composed my expression, and walked in. Jennifer was in the kitchen with Brandon and Kyle. They all looked up as I entered. Jennifer smiled, that warm smile that had fooled me for 2 years. "William, you're home. How was your day?" "Fine. Ran some errands." I set my keys on the counter. "What's going on here?" "Just having coffee with the boys. Kyle's thinking about opening his own gym. We're discussing locations." Kyle nodded. "Yeah, Dad. He'd started calling me that after the wedding, and I'd never corrected it. I'm looking at a space in Northwest. Great foot traffic. Just need some startup capital." "Here it comes," I thought. "How much startup capital?" I asked, my voice neutral. "About 50,000. I was thinking, maybe you could—" "No." The room went silent. "No?" Kyle's smile faded. "Just like that? You won't even consider it?" "I won't invest in a business without a solid plan, market analysis, and projected returns. Do you have those?" "Well, not formally, but—" "Then no." Brandon laughed. "Wow, Dad. That's cold. Kyle's family. You could help him out." I looked at Brandon, at his expensive sneakers, his designer jacket, his complete lack of employment. "When was the last time you had a job, Brandon?" His expression hardened. "I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have a job in the traditional sense. So you live off your mother." "William!" Jennifer's voice was sharp. "That's incredibly rude." "It's an honest question. My sons don't need to justify themselves to you. This is their home too." "Is it?" I looked at her carefully. "Because I thought this was my home, that I've owned for 32 years. Something flickered in her eyes. Fear? Guilt? She recovered quickly. "Our home, since we're married." "Right, our home." I paused. "I need to make some calls, excuse me." I walked to my office and closed the door. Through the walls I could hear their voices, lowered now, urgent whispers. I couldn't make out the words, but I didn't need to. I knew what they were discussing. "The old man suspects something. We need to move faster." I pulled out my phone and texted Marcus. "They're here. All acting normal. I'm documenting everything." His response: "Emergency hearing scheduled for tomorrow 2 p.m. Document examiner confirmed forgery. Be ready." I texted my son David. "Need to talk urgently. Call me when you can." Within minutes, my phone rang. "Dad?" "What's wrong? Your text sounded serious." "It is serious, David. Are you somewhere you can talk privately?" "Yeah, I'm in my office. What's going on?" I told him everything: the forged deed, Jennifer's behavior, her sons, the attorney. As I spoke, I heard David's breathing get heavier. Dad, that's insane. She stole your house?" "She tried to." I caught it. "Does Rachel know?" "I'm calling her next." "Dad, you need to get out of there. Today. Come stay with me in Chicago until this is resolved." "No, this is my house. I'm not leaving." "But if she's willing to forge documents, what else is she willing to do? You could be in danger." "I'm installing security cameras tonight. I'll be fine." David, I survived Vietnam. I can handle Jennifer." He was quiet for a moment. "Okay, but I'm flying out there. Tomorrow. I'll be at that hearing with you." "You don't have to." "Yes, I do. You're my father. And some woman is trying to steal from you. I'm coming." After I hung up, I felt emotion tighten my throat. David was coming. My son was standing with me. I called Rachel next. Her reaction was similar: shock, anger, insistence on flying out. I tried to talk her out of it, but she was adamant. "Dad, Mom's only been gone 6 years, and this woman swoops in and steals her house, the house Mom loved. Number, I'm coming. End of discussion." So my children were coming. My attorney was ready. The evidence was documented. Now I just needed to keep playing the part until the hearing tomorrow. I heard a knock on my office door. Jennifer opened it without waiting for a response. "William, dinner's ready." I'll be right there. She lingered in the doorway. Is everything okay? You seem tense. Just tired. We should talk. About earlier. About Kyle's gym idea. She stepped into the office. I know you don't like lending money, but family helps family. That's what Margaret would have wanted. My jaw tightened at the mention of Margaret's name. Don't what? Don't use my late wife to manipulate me. You didn't know Margaret. You don't know what she would have wanted. Jennifer's expression shifted. The warm mask slipped. For just a moment, I saw cold calculation underneath. I'm trying to build a life with you, William, but you keep shutting me out, shutting us out. Maybe this marriage was a mistake. Maybe it was. She blinked, surprised I'd agreed. So what are you saying? I'm saying we should talk to a counselor or a lawyer. Figure out if this is working. A lawyer? You mean divorce? If necessary. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she smiled. That same warm smile. The mask back in place. Let's not make any rash decisions. We're both upset. Let's have dinner. Talk it through. I love you, William. I don't want to lose you. Liar, I thought, but I nodded. All right. Dinner. At the table, Brandon and Kyle had left. It was just Jennifer and me. She served pot roast, Margaret's recipe. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'm sorry about today, she said as we ate. I know the boys can be a lot. I'll talk to them about boundaries. Thank you. And about the house. You're right. It's your house. You owned it long before me. I overstepped calling it ours. I apologize. Every word was a lie, but I played along. I appreciate that. We'll make this work, William. I promise. As I ate Margaret's pot roast across from the woman who'd stolen my house, I thought about tomorrow. The hearing, the evidence, the moment when Jennifer would realize her operation had failed. She thought she'd won. She thought the deed transfer was complete, that I was too old, too trusting, too stupid to notice. Tomorrow, she'd learn differently. Tomorrow, the counterattack begins. So far, William Crawford discovered his wife Jennifer forged documents to steal his $1.8 million home. The deed showed her as sole owner, with his signature forged on March 15th, a day she'd sent him on errands. After consulting his attorney Marcus Blackwell, William learned this was felony fraud. His children are flying in to support him. An emergency court hearing is scheduled for today at 2 p.m. Jennifer has no idea the counterattack has begun. The mission is underway. That morning, I woke at 0500 hours. Old military habits die hard. Jennifer was still asleep beside me. I watched her for a moment, this woman who'd shared my bed while plotting to steal my home. Her face was peaceful, innocent looking, the perfect mask. I got up quietly and went to my office. At 0530, a technician I'd hired arrived to install the security cameras. Hidden, professional grade. 6 cameras throughout the house, living room, kitchen, hallways, my office, audio and video, all feeding to a secure cloud server. By 0700, the installation was complete. The technician showed me how to access the feeds from my phone. These are motion activated. Any activity triggers recording, evidence quality footage. Perfect. Jennifer woke at 7:30. I was in the kitchen, making coffee, watching her on my phone screen as she moved through the house. She went straight to my office, tried the door. I'd locked it. She stood there for a moment, hand on the knob, then walked away. Interesting. Good morning, she said, entering the kitchen. She was wearing a silk robe I'd bought her for Christmas. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. Still upset about yesterday? She poured coffee. William, I meant what I said. We'll work through this. I love you. I nodded, saying nothing. What are your plans today? She asked casually. I have an appointment downtown, 2 o'clock. What kind of appointment? Personal business? Her eyes narrowed slightly. Are you seeing a lawyer? Why would you ask that? Because you mentioned divorce yesterday. I'm worried you're making decisions without talking to me first. I took a sip of coffee. If I were seeing a lawyer, you'd be the first to know. Technically true. She'd know at the hearing. At 900, David called. Dad, I just landed. Rachel's plane gets in at 11. We'll meet you at the courthouse? Yes. Marcus will brief you beforehand. How are you holding up? I'm fine, son. This is just another operation. Enemy identified. Mission parameters set. David laughed quietly. Sometimes I forget you're the guy who flew combat missions. She picked the wrong target. Yes, she did. After I hung up, Jennifer appeared in the office doorway. Who was that? David. He's in town. Her expression shifted. David's here? Why didn't you tell me? I should prepare. We should have him over for dinner. He's not coming to the house. We're meeting downtown. Oh, she paused. Is everything okay? Did something happen? Everything's fine. He was in the area for business. Thought he'd stop by. Another lie. But necessary. At 1300 hours, I left the house. Jennifer watched me from the window as I pulled out of the driveway. I could see her on my phone. The security camera captured her immediately going to my office, trying the door again, then calling someone. I pulled over and turned up the audio. He just left, Jennifer said into her phone. He's acting weird. Locked his office, said something about an appointment downtown. No, he wouldn't tell me what kind. What if he knows? We need to move faster. Can you get the papers ready? Good, I'll sign them tonight. What papers? I saved the recording and called Marcus. I just recorded Jennifer talking about signing papers tonight. She's worried I know something. She should be worried. We're about to destroy her in court. See you at 1400. The courthouse was downtown Portland, an imposing granite building. I arrived at 1330 and met Marcus in a conference room. David was already there and Rachel arrived 10 minutes later. My daughter hugged me tight. Dad, I can't believe this is happening. It's happening, but we're handling it. Marcus spread documents across the table. Okay, here's what we have. The forged deed, obviously. The forensic document examiner's report confirming the signature is fraudulent. Your testimony about the timeline and suspicious behavior. And I've subpoenaed Jennifer's financial records. What I've seen so far is damning. What did you find? I asked. Jennifer's been transferring large amounts out of her personal accounts. Just in the past month, she moved $47,000 to her sons. Brandon got $15,000. Kyle got $12,000. Derek got $20,000, all labeled as gifts. Where did she get $47,000? Rachel asked. That's the question. Her bank statements show a $50,000 deposit on March 20th, 5 days after the deed was supposedly signed. The deposit came from a company called Pacific Property Holdings, LLC. I felt cold understanding settle over me. She sold something. What did she sell? Marcus's expression was grim. We're investigating. But I think she may have tried to take out a home equity line of credit on your house using the forged deed. Got $50,000 cash advance before anyone flagged it. Jesus Christ, David said. She's been cashing in on stolen property? That's theft, fraud, and obtaining money under false pretenses, Marcus said. Multiple felonies. The DA is very interested. Is Jennifer coming to this hearing? I asked. She was served notice this morning at 9 a.m. She has to be here or face contempt charges. At 13:55, we entered the courtroom. It was a smaller hearing room, not a full courtroom. Judge Patricia Morrison presiding. She had a reputation for being sharp and no-nonsense. At 13:58, Jennifer arrived with her attorney, a young man who looked nervous. Jennifer's face went white when she saw me sitting with Marcus, David, and Rachel. She leaned over to her attorney, whispering urgently. He shook his head, looking at the documents Marcus had filed. All rise, the bailiff said. Court is now in session. Judge Morrison took her seat and reviewed the file. This is an emergency hearing regarding property deed fraud. Mr. Blackwell, you're representing the plaintiff? Yes, Your Honor. William Crawford. And Ms. Crawford is represented by Mr. Phillips? Jennifer's attorney stood. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Blackwell, this is your motion. Proceed. Marcus stood and presented the case methodically. The forged deed. The signature analysis. My testimony about March 15th, the day I was conveniently sent out on errands. The timeline of suspicious behavior. Then he dropped the bombshell. Your Honor, we've also discovered that Ms. Crawford obtained $50,000 through a home equity line of credit using the fraudulent deed 5 days after the supposed transfer. She then distributed this money to her adult sons. This isn't just deed fraud. It's an ongoing theft operation. Judge Morrison's expression darkened. She turned to Jennifer's attorney. Mr. Phillips, what's your client's response to these allegations? Mr. Phillips stood, looking uncomfortable. Your Honor, my client maintains that Mr. Crawford willingly signed the deed transfer. She has documentation. Forged documentation, Marcus interrupted. Mr. Blackwell, you'll have your turn, Judge Morrison said. Mr. Phillips, continue. My client says this is a misunderstanding, that Mr. Crawford is elderly and may be experiencing memory issues, that he signed the deed voluntarily and has simply forgotten. I felt rage burn in my chest, but I kept my expression neutral. The same playbook. Call me old, senile, confused. Judge Morrison looked at me. Mr. Crawford, you're how old? 71, Your Honor. And you're claiming you never signed this deed? That's correct. I never saw that document until yesterday when I checked county records. The signature is a forgery. Your Honor, Mr. Phillips said, Mr. Crawford's age is relevant. Memory issues are common. I flew 47 combat missions in Vietnam, I interrupted, my voice cold. I served 23 years in the Air Force, retiring as a lieutenant colonel. I then built a real estate investment portfolio of 12 properties worth over $4 million. I assure you, Your Honor, my memory and cognition are excellent. Judge Morrison's lips twitched in what might have been a smile. The forensic report seems to support that, Mr. Phillips. The signature is definitively fraudulent. She looked at Jennifer. Ms. Crawford, did you forge your husband's signature on this deed? Jennifer stood, her voice shaking. No! He signed it. He wanted to protect me. He said if something happened to him, he wanted me to have the house. He insisted we do the transfer. Then why didn't you use an attorney? Marcus asked. Why a notary public you'd never used before? Why no witnesses except your son, Brandon? The room went silent. Brandon was there, Judge Morrison asked. Marcus pulled out another document. According to the deed filing, Brandon Crawford signed as a witness, which means he knew about the forgery, which makes him an accessory. Jennifer's face went pale. Her attorney looked stunned. Judge Morrison reviewed the document. Ms. Crawford, I'm voiding this deed transfer immediately. The property reverts to Mr. Crawford's sole ownership. Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for criminal investigation. You're not to sell, transfer, or encumber the property in any way. Do you understand? But this isn't fair. He said he wanted me to have it. Ms. Crawford, Judge Morrison's voice was ice. The forensic evidence clearly shows forgery. You obtained money using fraudulent documents. This is a criminal matter. I strongly suggest you speak with your attorney about a defense strategy. She turned to me. Mr. Crawford, your ownership is restored. Is there anything else? Yes, Your Honor. I'd like a restraining order. I want Miss Crawford removed from my home immediately. I also want protection against any further financial fraud attempts. Granted. Ms. Crawford, you have 24 hours to remove your personal belongings from the residence. You are not to enter the property after that without express permission. Bailiff will provide you with the order. Judge Morrison banged her gavel. This hearing is concluded. As we stood, Jennifer turned to me. The warm mask was completely gone now. Her face was twisted with rage. You bastard, she hissed. I gave you 2 years. I made you happy, and this is how you repay me? You forged my signature and stole my house. What did you expect? I expect you to die alone, you miserable old man. David stepped forward. That's enough. Get away from my father. Jennifer's attorney pulled her toward the exit. She was crying now, but I couldn't tell if it was genuine emotion or performance. Rachel squeezed my arm. Dad, are you okay? I'm fine. Better than fine. I turned to Marcus. What happens now? The DA will open a criminal investigation. They'll look at the forgery, the HELOC fraud, Brandon's involvement as a witness. Jennifer and possibly her sons are facing serious charges, multiple felonies. How long until charges are filed? Depends on how fast they move. Days, maybe weeks. But with evidence this clear, they'll move fast. We left the courthouse. David and Rachel wanted to take me to dinner, but I declined. I need to go home. Jennifer has 24 hours to get her things out. I want to be there to supervise. Are you sure that's safe? Rachel asked. She seemed pretty angry. I'll be fine. Besides, everything's on camera now. I drove home alone, my mind already planning the next phase. The deed was restored. The criminal investigation was starting, but I wanted to understand the full scope of their operation. What else had they been planning? I arrived home at 1700. Jennifer's car was gone. The house was empty. Or so I thought. I went to my office and pulled up the security camera feeds on my laptop. Then I scrolled back to right after I'd left for court. At 13:15, 15 minutes after I left, Jennifer had called Brandon and Kyle. They'd arrived at 13:30, and what I saw on the footage made my blood run cold. Brandon had broken into my locked office, used some kind of tool to pick the lock. The three of them had spent 45 minutes going through my files, my desk, my safe. Jennifer had been on her phone, photographing documents, bank statements, property deeds, my will, insurance policies. "We need copies of everything," she'd said on camera. "If he's going to screw us, we need ammunition." "Mom, this is crazy," Kyle had said. "What if he catches us?" "He won't. He's at some appointment downtown, probably at his lawyer's office, paranoid old fool." Jennifer had pulled out a folder. "Look at this. 12 rental properties, worth millions, and he kept all this secret from me." "So what's the plan?" Brandon asked. "We take what we can. I've already got 50,000 from the house. I'll transfer that to offshore accounts today. Then we disappear before he can do anything about it." "What about the marriage?" Kyle asked. Jennifer laughed, a cold, bitter sound. "The marriage was always about money." "You think I wanted to sleep with a 71-year-old man? I did what I had to do. Now we get what we can and leave." I watched this footage 3 times, rage building with each viewing. They hadn't just stolen my house, they'd been planning to rob me blind and disappear. I saved everything to the cloud, backed it up 3 times. Then I called Marcus. "We have a problem. Jennifer and her sons broke into my office today while I was at court. I have them on camera discussing stealing from me and fleeing. Send me the footage." Now, this changes everything. I emailed him the files. 10 minutes later, he called back. "William, this is conspiracy to commit theft, breaking and entering. This footage shows premeditation. I'm calling the DA immediately. They need to freeze Jennifer's accounts before she can transfer that money." "Do it." At 1800, Jennifer came home. I was sitting in the living room, laptop open, watching her on the security feed as she came through the door. "We need to talk," she said, her voice calm. The mask was back. "About what?" "About what happened in court." "William, I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, but I did it because I love you. I was scared that you'd leave me with nothing if something happened, so I acted impulsively, stupidly." She sat down across from me. "Can you forgive me?" I looked at her. At this woman who'd just told her sons the marriage was only about money, who'd called me a paranoid old fool, who was planning to rob me and disappear. "No," I said simply. "No?" "William, please, I'll do anything. We can fix this." "It's over, Jennifer. You have 24 hours to get out." Her expression hardened. "Fine. But you should know, I'm not leaving empty-handed." "Yes, you are." The judge voided the deed. "The house is mine, and the DA is investigating you for fraud." "We'll see about that." She stood. "I have rights. As your wife, I'm entitled to half of everything. We've been married 8 months. Oregon law doesn't work that way." "My attorney says otherwise," I smiled. "Your attorney looked like he was about to cry in court, but sure, talk to him. Meanwhile, pack your things." She stormed upstairs. I heard doors slamming, drawers opening and closing. I pulled up the bedroom camera feed on my laptop. She was on her phone. "Brandon, we need to move tonight. I don't care, we don't have time. Get your brothers. Come help me pack. We're taking everything valuable. Yes, everything. Jewelry, electronics, whatever we can sell. He owes us for wasting 2 years of my life." I called Marcus again. "She's planning to steal my belongings tonight. Her sons are coming to help." "Call the police. Right now. Report a burglary in progress. But they're not here yet. They will be. And when they show up and start taking your property, you call 911. With the restraining order in place, she's not allowed to take anything except personal belongings. If she takes your property, that's theft." At 1845, Brandon, Kyle, and Derek arrived in a U-Haul truck. I watched from my office window as they came inside. watched on my cameras as Jennifer directed them. Living room first. The paintings are worth thousands, then the electronics. His laptop has financial information we can use. That's when I called 911. 911, what's your emergency? This is William Crawford at 2847 Northwest Thurman Street. My estranged wife and her 3 sons are currently in my home removing my property without permission. I have a restraining order from today's court hearing. Sir, are you in danger? Not physically, but they're committing theft. Officers are on the way. Stay on the line. I stayed on the phone, watching the cameras as Jennifer and her sons loaded my paintings into the truck, my television, my computer equipment. They were so focused on stealing that they didn't hear the sirens until police cars pulled into the driveway. The living room camera captured everything. Jennifer's face going white, Brandon dropping a painting, the police entering with hands on weapons. Portland Police! Everyone step away from the property. Officer, this is a misunderstanding, Jennifer said quickly. This is my house. These are my belongings. Ma'am, we have a court order here that says otherwise. We also have a report of theft in progress. Theft? From my own home? It's not your home, I said, walking into the living room. The court voided the deed today. You have no ownership rights, and you're stealing my property. One of the officers looked at the U-Haul truck, then at the paintings and electronics scattered around. Is this your property, sir? Yes, all of it. They were loading it to steal it. We weren't stealing, Jennifer shouted. These are gifts. He gave them to me. Do you have any proof of that, ma'am? Receipts? Documents showing transfer of ownership? Jennifer said nothing. The officer turned to his sons. You 3, names and IDs. As they provided identification, I gave the officer the court documents and the restraining order. He reviewed them carefully. Ma'am, you need to leave. Now, your personal belongings only. Everything else stays. This is ridiculous. He's lying. Officer, he's an old man. He's confused. Ma'am, he has court documents. You have excuses. Leave, now, or I'll arrest all 4 of you for theft and burglary. Jennifer's face was pure rage. You'll regret this, William. I promise you. Is that a threat? The officer asked. No, this isn't over. Actually, it is, I said calmly. Pack your clothes. Nothing else. You have 1 hour. Under police supervision, Jennifer packed 2 suitcases of clothes. Her sons stood in the driveway, silent and furious. At 20:30, they left. The U-Haul truck drove away empty except for Jennifer's personal items. After they left, the officer took my statement. Mr. Crawford, you should file a formal complaint for attempted theft and keep those cameras recording. People like this don't give up easy. I will. Thank you, officer. After the police left, I walked through my house. Everything was exactly as it had been 2 hours ago. The paintings on the walls, the electronics in place. Jennifer's plan had failed completely. I called David and Rachel. It's over. She's gone. Are you sure you're okay being there alone? Rachel asked. I'm fine. Better than fine. I won this round. But as I hung up, I realized something. Jennifer had said, "This isn't over." She and her sons had just been caught attempting theft. They were facing criminal fraud charges. They'd lost everything, which meant they were desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. I checked the security cameras, all functioning, all recording. The house was locked tight, but I didn't sleep well that night. I kept thinking about Jennifer's final words. You'll regret this. What was she planning next? So far, William won the emergency court hearing. The deed was voided, and Jennifer was ordered out. Security cameras captured her and her sons breaking into his office and planning to rob him. When they tried to steal his property, police caught them in the act. Jennifer left with a threat. The criminal investigation is underway, but Jennifer's parting words, "You'll regret this," suggested this battle wasn't over yet. William prepared for whatever came next. The first threat came at 02:30 hours. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You destroyed my life. Now I'll destroy yours. Watch your back, old man." I screenshotted it and forwarded it to Marcus and the police. Then I checked all the security cameras. The house perimeter was clear. No movement. I tried to sleep but couldn't. Every sound made me alert. Old combat instincts don't fade. They just wait for the next mission. At 600, I gave up on sleep. I made coffee and reviewed the security footage from overnight. Nothing. But my gut told me Jennifer wasn't done. People don't forge deeds, steal $50,000, and threaten revenge without following through. At 07:30, Marcus called. "Did you see the news?" "What news?" "Check Channel 8. Jennifer gave an interview." I turned on the television. There she was, sitting in someone's living room, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. The Chiron read, "Local woman claims elderly husband falsely accused her of fraud." "He's not well," Jennifer said to the interviewer, her voice trembling. "William is 71. He's been increasingly paranoid, forgetful. I tried to help him, tried to protect him, and he accused me of terrible things. I'm heartbroken." "But there was a court hearing," the interviewer said. "The judge ruled against you." The judge heard one side. "William has an expensive attorney who made me look like a criminal. But the truth is, I love my husband. I only wanted to help him manage his affairs. Instead, I'm being painted as some kind of gold digger." She sobbed. "It's devastating." I felt rage build in my chest. She was spinning this, trying to paint herself as the victim. Marcus's voice on the phone was tight. "This is a PR strategy. She's trying to poison public opinion before the criminal case starts." "Can we respond?" "We can, but I recommend we don't." Let her tell her story. Meanwhile, the DA has hard evidence: forged signatures, illegal HELOC, breaking and entering on camera. Facts beat sympathy every time. "What about the threat I got this morning?" "The police are tracing it." "But William? Be careful. This interview shows she's escalating. She's desperate to control the narrative. That makes her unpredictable." At 10:00 hours, Detective Sarah Chen from the Portland Police Financial Crimes Unit called. "Mr. Crawford, I'm the lead investigator on your case. I need to meet with you today. How's 1400? "I'll be there." At the police station, Detective Chen was all business. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, the demeanor of someone who'd seen every scam in the book. "Mr. Crawford, I've reviewed everything your attorney provided. The forged deed, the fraudulent HELOC, the security footage of the break-in. This is one of the clearest cases of elder financial abuse I've investigated." "What happens now?" "We're building the criminal case. Jennifer Crawford will be charged with forgery, fraud, theft, and conspiracy. Her son Brandon will be charged as an accessory for witnessing the forged deed. The other two sons, Kyle and Derek, we're investigating their level of involvement." "How long until charges are filed?" "We're moving fast, within a week. But I need to warn you, Jennifer's attorney is already floating an incompetency defense. They're going to claim you were confused, that you consented to everything, that you're now fabricating accusations because of cognitive decline." I smiled grimly. "They tried that in court. Didn't work. It won't work with us either. But it means she's fighting hard, which means you need to be very careful. I saw the threatening text you received. We're taking it seriously. I can protect myself." "I'm sure you can, Colonel. But humor me. Vary your routines. Stay alert. If you see Jennifer or her sons anywhere near your property, call 911 immediately. Restraining order violations are arrestable offenses. Understood." As I left the station, my phone rang. Rachel. "Dad, I just saw that news interview. I'm so angry I can barely speak." "It's just noise, honey. The truth will come out." "She called you paranoid. She said you're not well. Dad, we need to respond. Go on camera. Tell your side." "No, we let the evidence speak. The DA has everything they need. But people are believing her. I'm seeing comments online calling you a cruel old man who abandoned his wife. People who don't know the facts. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. She's attacking my father. Rachel, listen to me. In combat, sometimes the enemy tries to draw you out, make you react emotionally, break your discipline. We don't take that bait. We stick to the mission. The mission is justice through the legal system, not public opinion." She was quiet for a moment. "You're right. I'm just so angry. I know, me too, but we're winning. Don't forget that." Over the next 4 days, Jennifer's media campaign intensified. She appeared on 2 more local news segments, posted on social media about being victimized by a vindictive elderly man. Her sons shared the posts, adding their own commentary about how I'd turned on family. Meanwhile, I stayed silent, went about my daily routine, Met with Marcus to finalize documentation for the DA. Talked to David and Rachel every day, maintained my security systems. On day 5, Detective Chen called. "We're filing charges tomorrow. I wanted to give you advance notice. Jennifer Crawford will be charged with 3 counts of forgery, 2 counts of fraud, 1 count of theft over $50,000, and 1 count of conspiracy. Brandon Crawford is being charged as an accessory. Kyle and Derek are being investigated but not charged yet. Insufficient evidence of knowledge." What kind of sentence is she looking at? If convicted on all counts, 8 to 12 years. She'll likely be offered a plea deal for less. And if she takes it to trial? Then we present all the evidence, the forensic documents, your testimony, the security footage. She'll lose. Badly. The next morning, the news broke. "Local woman charged with defrauding elderly husband," the headlines read. Jennifer's mugshot was everywhere. The comment section shifted dramatically. Suddenly, people were questioning her victim narrative. Jennifer called me that afternoon. I let it go to voicemail. "William, please. We need to talk. This has gotten out of hand. I made mistakes, yes, but I don't deserve to go to prison. Call me. Please. We can work this out." I deleted the message and blocked her number. 2 weeks later, Jennifer's attorney filed a motion for a competency evaluation, requesting that I be examined by a psychologist to determine if I was mentally fit to make accusations. Marcus filed an opposition brief that was, in his words, scorched earth. The hearing was brief. Judge Morrison read both filings and looked at Jennifer's attorney with barely concealed contempt. "Mr. Phillips, your client forged documents, stole money, and was caught on camera breaking into Mr. Crawford's office. The forensic evidence is overwhelming. This competency motion is a desperate attempt to avoid accountability." Motion denied. Jennifer's face crumbled. She'd been so certain the confused old man strategy would work. It didn't. 3 months after the initial court hearing, the criminal trial began. The prosecution presented their case methodically. The forensic document examiner testified that my signature was definitively forged. The bank testified about the fraudulent HELOC. Detective Chen walked the jury through the security footage of Jennifer and her sons in my office, discussing their theft plan. Then I took the stand. The prosecutor asked me to walk through my military service, my career in real estate, my cognitive abilities. I recounted the timeline, March 15th, the day Jennifer sent me on errands, the discovery of the forged deed, the court hearing, the attempted theft. Jennifer's attorney tried to cross-examine me, suggesting I was confused, forgetful. I remained calm and precise. For every question, I had exact dates, times, specific details. After 30 minutes, he gave up. No further questions. The prosecution rested. Jennifer's defense was weak. She claimed she'd acted out of love and fear, that she'd made a mistake but hadn't intended to defraud anyone. The jury didn't buy it. Deliberation took 3 hours, guilty on all counts. At sentencing, the judge was harsh. "Ms. Crawford, you targeted a 71-year-old veteran who welcomed you into his life. You forged his signature. You stole his property. You obtained $50,000 through fraud. When caught, you attempted to steal more. You showed no remorse. In fact, you launched a media campaign to paint yourself as the victim." She paused. "This court sees through that manipulation. I sentence you to 10 years in state prison, followed by 5 years supervised probation. You will pay full restitution of $50,000 plus court costs and legal fees. You are never to contact Mr. Crawford again." Jennifer's face went gray. 10 years. She'd be 68 when she got out. Brandon, charged as an accessory, got 3 years plus probation. As they were led away in handcuffs, Jennifer looked back at me one last time. The mask was completely gone. All I saw was rage and hatred. I felt nothing, just the cold satisfaction of a mission completed. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I gave one statement. "Justice was served today. I hope this case reminds people that elder abuse is a serious crime with serious consequences. Age doesn't make you an easy target unless you let it. Thank you." That evening, David, Rachel, and I had dinner at my house, the house that was undeniably mine. We toasted with Margaret's favorite wine. "I'm proud of you, Dad," David said. "You could have let her get away with it." Plenty of people would have. Not an option. I didn't survive Vietnam to be robbed by my own wife, Rachel smiled. Mom would be proud too. You protected everything you two built together. I thought about Margaret, about the 42 years we spent building our life, about this house that held so many memories. I did it for her, and for myself, and for everyone else who thinks they're too old to fight back. 6 months after Jennifer's sentencing, I was doing well. Better than well. My rental properties were thriving. My health was excellent. I'd started dating again, a woman named Dorothy I met at the Veterans Center. She was a retired Army nurse, sharp as a tack, with a no-nonsense attitude about people who tried to take advantage. I like that you stood up for yourself, she told me on our 3rd date. Too many people just accept abuse because it's easier than fighting. Nothing worth having is easy. Exactly. I'd also started speaking at elder abuse prevention seminars, sharing my story, teaching people to recognize the warning signs, the isolation tactics, the financial manipulation, the gaslighting. They called me paranoid, I told one audience, confused, forgetful. That's the playbook. Make you doubt yourself, make others doubt you. But if your instincts say something's wrong, trust them. Document everything, get professional help, and never, ever let someone tell you that age makes you incompetent. The audiences were always appreciative. Many came up afterward with their own stories. Adult children stealing from parents, new spouses manipulating widows and widowers, financial advisors taking advantage. The patterns were always similar. What should I do, they'd ask. Fight back. Immediately. Don't wait. Don't hope it gets better. Get an attorney. Call the police. Protect yourself. You deserve justice. 1 year after everything ended, I received a letter, prison postage, from Jennifer. I almost threw it away, but curiosity got the better of me. Dear William, I've had a lot of time to think in here, about what I did, about who I became. I want you to know I'm sorry, truly sorry. I justified everything, told myself you wouldn't miss the money, that you were old and wouldn't need it all, that I deserved something after 2 years with you. But I was wrong. I was cruel. You probably won't believe this, but I did care about you. At first, before the greed took over, before my sons convinced me you were just a meal ticket, before I lost sight of basic decency. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm just asking you to know that I understand now. What I took from you wasn't just money or property. It was trust, security, peace of mind. And I'm genuinely sorry. I hope you're doing well. I hope you found happiness. You deserve it more than I ever did. Jennifer, I read the letter 3 times. Then I did something unexpected. I wrote back. Jennifer, I received your letter. I appreciate the apology. Whether it's sincere or another manipulation, I don't know, but I choose to take it at face value. You asked if I found happiness. I have. I'm healthier and happier now than I was during our marriage. I'm dating someone who respects me. I'm speaking at seminars, helping others avoid what happened to me. I'm living well. I don't forgive you for what you did. Forgiveness requires a relationship, and we don't have one. But I release any anger I held. You're serving your time. Justice was achieved. That's enough. I hope prison teaches you something. I hope you come out a better person. But that's your journey, not mine. Mine is already complete. William, I never heard from her again. Now, 18 months after everything ended, I can say with absolute certainty, I won. Not just in court, not just financially, but in every way that matters. I protected my assets. I protected my dignity. I refused to be a victim, and I proved that age is not weakness. It's experience, wisdom, and strategic thinking. Jennifer thought she was dealing with a confused old man. She was wrong. I was a combat veteran, a tactical operations officer, a man who'd faced enemy fire and survived. She was just another opponent, and like all the others, she lost. People ask me now, do you regret marrying her? Do you regret trusting her? My answer is always the same. I regret that she was the kind of person who would betray trust. But I don't regret being the kind of person who offers it. Trust makes you human. How others handle that trust reveals who they are, not who you are. I'm 73 now, in excellent health, sharp mind, strong body. I walk 3 miles every day. I manage my 12 properties. I spend time with Dorothy. We're talking about taking a trip to Europe in the spring. David and Rachel visit regularly. My grandchildren know the story, not all the details, but enough to understand that their grandfather doesn't accept being pushed around. I also volunteer with veterans organizations, helping other former service members who face financial abuse. It's more common than people think. Family members assuming a veteran's disability checks or pension are family money. Spouses stealing from combat injury settlements. Adult children exploiting parents who have PTSD or TBI. What do I do? They ask me. These veterans who survived war but are being destroyed by their own families. You fight, I tell them. You've fought before. You know how. This is just a different battlefield. Document everything. Get legal help. And remember, you didn't survive combat to be defeated by a thief, even if that thief is family. The phrase family has changed meaning for me. It used to mean blood, DNA, legal relationships. Now it means something different. Family is David flying across the country within hours of my call, Rachel dropping everything to stand beside me in court, Marcus working around the clock to build my case, Detective Chen treating my situation with the seriousness it deserved, Dorothy listening to my story without judgment and loving me anyway. Family is loyalty, respect, trust, honesty. Blood doesn't guarantee any of that. Jennifer was legally my wife. Brandon, Kyle, and Derek were legally my stepsons. But they weren't family. They were opportunists. Real family doesn't steal from you, doesn't manipulate you, doesn't try to have you declared incompetent so they can loot your life savings. If you're reading this or listening to it and you're in a situation like mine, let me tell you something important. You are not too old to fight back. You are not too trusting to be smart. You are not weak for being kind. Age brings experience, wisdom, perspective. Use those advantages. Here's what I learned through all of this. Document everything. Keep records, save emails, take screenshots. Security cameras saved my case. Your documentation will save yours. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't let anyone gaslight you into doubting yourself. Get professional help immediately. Attorneys, police, forensic accountants, you can't fight this alone. Don't try. Protect your assets proactively. Prenuptial agreements, trusts, password protection, two-factor authentication. Make it hard for people to steal from you. Never let anyone use your age against you. The moment someone calls you confused or forgetful to dismiss your concerns, that's a red flag. Cognitive decline is real for some people, but it's also a convenient excuse for abusers. Don't be ashamed. Elder abuse happens to intelligent, capable people. It's not your fault. The shame belongs to the abuser, not the victim. Fight back immediately. Don't wait. Don't hope they'll stop. Don't try to handle it quietly. The moment you discover theft or fraud, take action. Every day you wait makes recovery harder. And finally, you deserve justice. Regardless of your age, regardless of who the abuser is, you worked your whole life for what you have. You earned it. You deserve to keep it. And you deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. I'm William James Crawford. I'm 73 years old. I'm a retired lieutenant colonel with 23 years of Air Force service. I flew 47 combat missions in Vietnam. I built a successful real estate investment career. I survived my wife's attempt to steal my home and my life savings. And I won. That's my story. If you're facing something similar, you can win too. You're stronger than you think, smarter than they assume, and you absolutely deserve to protect what's yours. Don't give up. Don't let them make you doubt yourself. Don't accept being a victim. Fight, because you're not too old to win. You're experienced enough to know how, and that makes all the difference. Did you like this story? Let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Share your own experiences if you feel comfortable. You're not alone. There's a community of us who refused to be victims, who stood up, who fought back, who won. Your story might be next. And remember, respect has no age limit. Neither does justice. You've got this.